There's a massive crime problem across Canada, very acute crimes, violent crimes, but also slow-burning, low-level crimes that we've just come to accept. It really is terrible. It's worst in the big cities. Vancouver's downtown east side has never been this bad, but Ontario is particularly bad, especially Toronto. And you may recall about a week or two ago in the town of Lindsay, Ontario, which is about 90 minutes outside Toronto, a man was sleeping at 3 a.m. when a criminal, a serial criminal, out on bail, broke in. At 3 a.m., the homeowner was sleeping. He woke up, an altercation ensued, and the intruder was injured. Police came, arrested the intruder, yes, but also arrested the homeowner and charged him with serious forms of assault. A man defending his own home at 3 a.m. Just outrageous. The police won't protect you, and yet they won't let you protect yourself. It was an international story, really, and it was certainly covered coast to coast. And the Premier of Ontario, who has presided over this province for 7 full years, who has more skin in the game politically than anyone else, who appoints the judges at the provincial court, who is the political boss of the police and the prosecutors, Doug Ford had the temerity to say he totally stands with the homeowner, Jeremy McDonald, and boy, is he on side of the little guy and opposed to the criminal. Here's his press conference about that.
Did everyone hear about the story in Lindsay? So this criminal that's wanted by the police breaks into this guy's house. This guy gives him a beating, and this guy gets charged. And the other guy gets charged. But something is broken. I know if someone breaks into my house or someone else's, you're going to fight for your life. This guy has a weapon. You're going to use any force you possibly can to protect your family. I'm telling you, I know everyone would. I'd be scared to break into Kevon's house. Look at it, he's like a linebacker. He beat the living crap out of the guy, as he should. Because enough's enough here. Violence and breaking into people's homes, putting guns to their heads. And guess what? Some bleeding heart judge, little Johnny, he didn't have a good upbringing. So we're going to let him out on bail 5 more times because he's on his 5th, being let out on bail 5 times, just to go do the same thing the next day. I'll tell you one thing. I get more calls than anyone in the country. People are done with this. They're absolutely done. They're finished. You should be able to protect your family. When someone's going in there to harm your family and your kids, you should use all resources you possibly can to protect your family. And maybe these criminals will think twice about breaking into someone's home.
Yeah, no, of all the people in Ontario who get to weigh in support of Jeremy McDonald, Doug Ford is not one of them. Doug Ford is more responsible than anyone in the province other than the criminal himself. It's Doug Ford who appoints the judges of the provincial court and who has obviously adopted the policy that he will prosecute anyone who dares to defend themselves. How dare he pretend he's not deeply culpable for this? But it's incredible. It's not Mark Carney's prosecutors that are doing the charging. It's Doug Ford's. This comes after a video a few months ago of Doug Ford literally talking about the castle doctrine. A man's home is his castle and you better not go in there. He said that, but of course he did nothing. Take a look at that old video.
Did you hear about the guy that these thugs came up, ready to steal his car? They're all in their masks and everything. So I guess he was a hunter or something. He shot up in the air. I don't recommend that, by the way. But he gets charged. I got to find out this guy's name and number, and I'm going to hold a fundraiser for lawyer fees for him. He should get a medal for standing up. It's like down in the U.S., we should have the castle law. Someone breaks into your house, and I know any of these people here, someone breaks into your house, and they're coming after your kids, and you're coming after your spouse, you're going to fight like you've never fought before. You're going to use anything that you have, be it weapons, baseball bats, knives. You're protecting your family. These thugs shouldn't be coming in there.
Now, it's true that in Canada, we have one national or federal criminal code. There are provincial offenses, but the heavy-duty stuff is done by Parliament, so it's true. A deep amendment to the way we handle that part of criminal law, self-defense, would have to be done through Mark Carney's Parliament. And of course, Doug Ford says he's best buddies with Carney, but Doug Ford doesn't have to wait for Parliament to make that law before he can change the policy on what police and prosecutors do. Let me give you the example. Justin Trudeau legalized marijuana, but for probably about 20 years before that, criminalized marijuana. It was in the criminal code. It was against the law, but it was the policy, it was the discretion of most police forces and most prosecutors not to prosecute possession of small amounts of marijuana. If you were a big dealer and had a lot, they might go after you. But if you were just an ordinary person with a personal supply, it was pretty much guaranteed you wouldn't be charged. Again, that's a political decision taken by police commissioners, mayors, premiers, and prosecutors not to go after that. Doug Ford, if he truly believed in the Castle Doctrine, could simply have instructed his Attorney General, do not prosecute those. He could have instructed his Solicitor General to have police forces not do it. But he had the worst of all worlds. He had his police and prosecutors go after anyone who dares to defend themselves, while he goes on TV pretending he's with the victim here. It's unacceptable. But then this isn't the first time Doug Ford has one law for himself and one for others. Remember when someone tried to steal a car from Doug Ford's own property?
Now, I'm going to tell you a story. Probably get in trouble for this. Do you want to hear about stupid criminals? Have you ever seen that show about stupid criminals out there? So 4 thugs come racing down my street, masks on, ready to take the car out of the driveway. Surprise, surprise, at 12:30, the 2 police cars are there. The chase is on. So they chase him. One guy runs out, takes off. They capture him, and they catch these other guys. But just imagine all the unfortunate people that don't have security there at their house with masks on, and they have all the tools ready to break in and everything, and guess what's going to happen? They're going to be back out. Why don't you guys come over for a barbecue tonight? I'll take care of you better than the police. And thank God the police got you and I never did. Anyways, that's my rant. I'm sick and tired of the weak justice system that we have. They have to get a backbone, and we need to start throwing these people in jail. This is turning into a lawless society. That's my rant, and that's it.
I think he's trying to show how relatable he is, that he himself had a car stolen, but it's actually the opposite. I don't think telling that story is the win he thinks it is, because it shows that he has a second higher standard. He wasn't robbed because he's got a police escort all the time, police park at his house. He's showing how cocooned he is, how insulated he is from the life that other people lead. Well, now there's a new case. I don't know if you saw, but there were recent thefts from the LCBO, that's the Liquor Control Board of Ontario, the official government liquor store. A group of people, they look like migrants, but you can't say for sure, just robbed the place blind. They were filmed, and they didn't care. They didn't even cover their faces. Here's the video.
Hey guys, you're on live TV, eh? You're on live TV.
By the way, there's a lot of videos like this. This one got the Premier's ire again.
Okay, so here's my little crime rant of the day. I don't know if you've ever seen. Did you see these characters on the news last night that went into the LCBO up in Kitchener? They're brazen bunch of crooks. I have all the confidence in the world in the Waterloo Police Services. The chief, he's a champion. The chief. We got to catch these guys and throw them in jail. They just do not care. They go in there. They start loading up. And you know what's ironic? It's the taxpayers' money, the LCBO. And so they're stealing off the taxpayers. But I have confidence they're going to be caught, and the judges have to keep these guys in bail. Or the other one, did you see the gangsters going into the mall there and smashing people's jewelry right in broad daylight and just hammering away at it? It's out of control. And I love the one, I think it was a year ago, when the guy in the LCBO, just a customer, he stood up and held him accountable. I'd love to meet that guy one day. You gave him a couple slugs in the head. They deserve a slug in the head every once in a while.
So he thinks that people should slug them. Really? There's so many layers here. The first one is that the LCBO, actually, as I mentioned, is a Crown agency. It is owned by the government, run by Doug Ford. And yet the LCBO has an explicit policy, do not stop shoplifters. That's a policy. It costs tens of millions of dollars a year. You go into any store, you don't know what's going to happen. If you're a shoplifter, they might fight back, they might not. But if you go into the LCBO, the liquor board, you can bet that they will not stop you at all. You can steal the most valuable liquors and they'll let you walk right out. That's on Doug Ford. Who else would it be on? He said that bystanders should slug them. Really? But then they would be charged, just like Jeremy McDonald was charged. Jeremy McDonald fought back against a home invader. Doug Ford charged him. Doug Ford's giving advice to bystanders to slug these criminals. Doesn't he know that his police and his prosecutors would go after them? They'd probably be sued also in civil court. Hey, I got an idea. It's crazy. How about actually enforce the law? Or how about actually running the LCBO as if the province owned it, which it does? There's more every day, like this jewelry store robbery. Did you see this?
Are you kidding me again?
Ford talked about that too, but again, as if he was an outsider, as if he was a pundit or a third-party observer, as opposed to the key architect of the Ontario of 2025. And then there was this case of an attempted rape kidnapping in Peel region, which is adjacent to Toronto. I've been talking to you about Ontario cases, but it's the same in Quebec and British Columbia and Alberta and pretty much every province now to a degree. 7 years of this. But there's a glimmer of hope out there. Even a weakened and politically correct and woke and demoralized police could handle any of these things. They really could. In fact, if they were asked to actually stop crime and fight crime, I think it would remoralize the police. Right now, the police are told to let criminals go all the time. It's got to be deeply unsatisfying to be a cop in 2025. You can see in the United States that when Donald Trump has invited police to actually enforce the law and invited the border police to do so, they do so with gusto. When he's remoralized their military, people sign up in huge numbers. U.S. deportations of criminal migrants. This has caused the U.S. border police, other police, FBI, ICE, they're actually being respected and being allowed to do their job.